So getting back to the presentation, I do want to just bring in a couple of research findings that I have found to kind of set the stage for why online business creates so many new possibilities for Black women entrepreneurs specifically. So these are research findings from JP Morgan, which I don't quote often, but this related to what I was talking about. And also a report from the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City. They actually did a really great comprehensive report on the state of Black women business startups. I would encourage you to read that, and I can send that link in the email with the recording as well. But just to read these for y'all. So Black women are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs, but the job isn't easy. So Black women are the fastest growing group, fastest demographic of entrepreneurs in the US, but they face disproportionate financial headwinds. And we know this to be true. Given a lack of access to capital, Black women are more likely than other demographic groups to self-fund their businesses, which is important when it comes to what I'm talking about tonight, which is the startup cost for online businesses. They're zero or very low, depending on the tools that you use and the products and services that you're marketing. So to create a more equitable environment, the finance community must recognize the biases that exist in investment assessment. Yes. And this one I kind of had an issue with because having worked in the banking field, having worked on these issues, raising these issues of equity, it was not received well. So the fact that we have to wait on the finance community to recognize the biases that exist, I'm sorry, but I don't have time for that. We don't have time for that. So the world of online business really opens up the possibility for us to take it into our own hands, create our businesses, and not rely on other people for financing, anything like that, because the startup costs are so low. And just to read a few excerpts from Black women business startups, workplace treatment. So the push factors that push a lot of Black women into entrepreneurship. So a number of women identified negative workplace treatment as a primary motivation for starting their own business. For some women, it was conflict with management. For some, it was a lack of flexibility during a major life crisis. And for others, it was a perception of unfair treatment. We know that this is true, right? This is something I experienced myself that led me into entrepreneurship. The treatment that we receive in the workplace, the hostility that we receive, that we're exposed to, often pushes us into entrepreneurship, sometimes even before we're ready to undertake it. So this kind of highlights why Black women have specific needs, right, when it comes to starting a business, because we're often having to heal while doing something extremely stressful, which is starting a new business, because it's like kind of push or shove, right? When you are in a workplace that is so toxic and detrimental to your well-being, entrepreneurship is the only path that seems like a reprieve from what you've been experiencing. So I want to make that clear. And perception of workplace value. The perception of being undervalued in the workplace was a dominant push theme. This issue showed in the form of high performance versus low reward, access to less opportunity, and a lack of commitment by the employer. So we know all of this to be true. So like I've said, I spent a lot of time doing research to understand the unique challenges of Black women entrepreneurs. A challenge that I've always seen pop up is the lack of access to capital. That's pretty much everywhere you look when you're looking up Black women-owned businesses. Black women are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in the US, but we don't have adequate access to capital. We don't have equitable access to capital, and yet we're still starting businesses. But guess what you don't need to start an online business? Capital. Again, the startup cost, zero, very low, depending on the tools you use. A lot of the tools you can start off on a free plan. And then as your business grows, and the more revenue that you gain, you can graduate to the paid plans. So this creates so many new opportunities that didn't exist before. All right.